guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the gym here at TPC Toronto, home of the 2025 Canadian Open. Guys, hopefully you've watched our first video by now. We took you through a resistance band workout here in the channel. I can't emphasize this enough. I want you guys to play better golf, and all of this stuff will help you play better golf, trust me it will. But if I can encourage you to be in the gym, even if it's a couple of days a week, to do some of these exercises, or at home doing a couple of these exercises, it won't be your golf, just your golf game that thanks us. It will be everything about your life that will get better. Your patterns will get better. You're going to work out and you're not going to want to eat that junk food afterwards. You're going to want to refuel with some proper sort of nutrients afterwards. And the ripple effect of living in the gym, guys, it's much more than just what you get from the workout. It's a cliche, but it is a way of life. And hopefully we're starting to instill that in, you know, the sort of principles that we've got and the pillars of performance at the Fraser Golf Institute. It's why we're not just talking about golf swing all the time or golf clubs all the time, whatever it is, because, you know, that's not a holistic approach to being a better version of yourself. It starts in here, in this place, getting your body right, getting your mind right, and working out is a huge part of that. So today we're going to lift some slightly heavier weights than last time. As I say, we done resistance band work last time. This time we're going to get into doing a little bit more of the stuff that I do when I'm in the gym. So I love kettlebells. I love any barbells. Obviously dumbbells are a staple in every gym, but anytime I can work with kettlebells, I like to throw that in the mix, and I think that would be a really good one for you guys too. I just think they're so versatile. I mean, it's kind of hard to have all different plates and barbells, and whether you've got a Smith machine or you've got a squat rack or whatever it is at home, those typically are a little bit more challenging. If you've got a dumbbell that you can swing around, you can do some different things, whether it's squats or deadlifts like we're going to do today, those are some of the most versatile exercises that can really benefit you, you know, your health, wellness, and performance on the golf course. So we're going to start off with a deadlift, okay? We're going to use the, I think we've got 45-pound kettlebell here, and we're going to talk about deadlifting and the benefits of that. One of the major compound exercises that does more than just, you know, work on one muscle group. Deadlifts are one of the major compound movements that get everything in your sort of lower body. And there's some other elements, again, that are really, really good for golf when we're in that kind of extension phase, you know, like we want to be. As, you know, people, I think, sometimes give extension in the golf swing a bit of a bad rap. We need, if we stayed in flexion in the golf swing and just stayed there as we rotated, you know, unless you've got crazy amount of side bend like Joachim Neiman or something like that, you know, you're going to have a really hard time staying down there. We need thrust. We need some extension. And as long as you do it at the right time, it's a good thing. And certainly some of these deadlift exercises will be good for honing that type of movement, okay? So I'm going to move the kettlebell. And guys, be careful. You know, just sometimes we forget to remind people that injuries are probably the number one thing we want to avoid when we're in the gym. Lifting a weight the wrong way, or maybe lifting it without engaging in the core, it can happen in a millisecond. You go, why did I do that? That's my back out for 6 weeks, 12 weeks. We're in a golf climate here where we have a 6-month season. If you do that at the start of April, May, and you're out for 3 months, absolutely devastating. So be very careful when you're moving around, especially if you've got some bigger weights. So we're going to start off with this deadlift, okay? So we've got sort of 2 hands on it. So before I lift anything, we've talked about this in the previous video, but I really want you guys to understand what it means to engage the core. Okay, so even if I go side on here, I want you guys to think about an outward breath, right? And really let the air be expelled from the lungs. And as you breathe out, I want you to feel like you're sucking that belly button towards your spine. So just as you stand, and then obviously get back to breathing, but hold that position, that really engaged position. You should be able to hold your core, your obliques, your abs, and they should feel, you know, they should feel engaged. Some will feel more engaged than others, but you know, you should certainly feel that you've got some firmness to that as you hold it, right? And we want to keep it in that nice solid position. That's what's going to stop us getting injured, stabilize our lower back, and really kind of holds us in a good position. So from that held position, okay, we're going to position the kettlebell in line with kind of like our heels. We don't want it too far forward where we're just bending over from our back. we want to position it in line with our heels, and we want to sort of push our backside back, and we want to sort of hold the kettlebell out in front of us, okay? So from this position, what we want to do is we want to make sure we're pushing from the ground up. Okay, so this isn't lifting it like this, where you're just lifting it with the hands and arms. I want you to feel like you're driving your legs into the ground, and then with the extension, you're obviously going to push your pelvis forward in that final phase. So 2 hands on it, we're going to feel like we are driving our heels into the ground, and then as we lift, we're in that extension phase, okay? And drop it back down. Now, again, I don't want you dropping it too far in front. I want you sort of having the kettlebell a little further back, so we sort of have to get into that deeper sort of squat position to pick it up, and then we're in extension from there, okay? Drop it down. Again, and even if you have that little towards the end, just for the thrust of making sure that there's some dynamic motion to that. I always like people to feel like, you know, there's an acceleration point. You know, we're not here sort of lifting 3 to 5 reps where it's like we're really working through the range. This is a dynamic motion and something that can transfer to our golf game. So for the kettlebell deadlift, guys, I like somewhere in the 8 to 10 range, okay? So this isn't as many reps as we would do within the resistance band because we are dealing with some more weight. We don't want to sort of completely sort of wipe out our system, our nervous system early on in the workout. We want to make sure we leave something in the tank. But I do want you to make sure you do these big compound movements early in your workout. I like to get deadlifts in first. Full tank of gas. This is one that should probably deplete the energy levels a little bit more than others. And you'll see towards the end of this workout, we're going to be doing some other exercises that definitely aren't as challenging. Very good for the golf swing, but definitely not as challenging as a kettlebell dumbbell deadlift. So kettlebell deadlift. So 8 to 10 reps is about perfect for this. Okay guys, exercise number 2, we have the goblet squat, another lower body movement that's really, really great for sort of getting some good sort of tension in the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, really, really good for working out those big muscle groups, some of the biggest muscle groups in the body that really, I think, get overlooked. I think a lot of people like to, you know, make sure they fill their shirt. Golfers fill their trousers. I use that saying quite a lot, and I think it's so true. When you look at the best golfers in the world, they are all so thick in the lower body. When it comes to their glutes, their legs, they're so stable. You'll see them working out with their trainers all the time, and it's very, very sort of lower body dominant. You very rarely see them doing an awful lot of upper body stuff. Sure, there'll be some upper body press type stuff that's very dynamic, and we'll add that into this workout as well, but you will see them lifting the heaviest weights they do when it comes to doing anything related to the lower body. So here we have a goblet squat. So again, kettlebells, you guys know I love kettlebells by now. We're going to use this one. You can do squats on a squat rack, you can do it on a barbell. Great, you know, if that's your preference, no problem at all. I just think the versatility of a goblet squat is just so underrated. So when it comes to the technique, I'll turn side on so you can kind of see. So we are going to sort of take the goblet, the kettlebell into the goblet squat position. Okay, so this one we're going to sort of hook our thumbs in the sides of the handles. Okay, so we're going to kind of get down in the squat position, and we're just going to get hold of the kettlebell. Okay, we're going to bring it on up. Okay, so we're going to get it up in front of our chest. Okay, make sure we've got a nice stable base. And then from there, we're going to lower ourselves into the squat. Back up, okay? Making sure we get that full range of motion. And then back up. Always good if you can do this where you've got a mirror where you can see sort of your technique. Okay, so from this position, I mean, I've got a little bit of pelvis tuck. When I do these, I've always kind of had that, so I'm really working on that. But we want to have nice deep squat, and we want to sort of, again, keep that in the 8 to 10 rep range. That's definitely something like even doing 3 or 4 and holding it in position. You know, I'm starting to sort of breathe a little bit. The heart rate's going up a little bit. That's what we want without sort of reaching failure. We don't really want to be doing these exercises, getting to the sort of max exertion. I'd love for you to feel like you've got 2 or 3 reps left in the tank by the time you finish these exercises. So this is the goblet squat, a great one for strengthening your lower body. Okay guys, so exercise number 3. So we have a Swiss ball chest press, single arm chest press. Lots of you will be obviously very familiar with, whether it's dumbbell bench press, whether it's, just the barbell bench press, the more sort of common variant of this one. This one I love for golfers because there is more core stability. There's more sort of core engagement when it comes to this one. Sure, you're not going to be lifting the same amount of weight, which I actually think is not a bad thing. I think the mindset has changed a little bit over the years of, golfers and their physique and, trying to avoid sort of lifting too much and be too upper body heavy and too bulky. I think it's a little bit more accepted now that you can lift a bit more than certainly we used to think. But still, we don't want to impede range of motion. And you'll see the variant on this one using the Swiss ball and only one dumbbell. You'll see that there's plenty of a challenge and you'll still get a really good workout from it. So we're going to take a single dumbbell, lay it out in front of us, okay? Sit out on the Swiss ball. And we're going to just pick up the dumbbell. Again, something that you're really comfortable with. It should probably be 60 to 70% of your sort of like range or your max range when it comes to the dumbbell. So we're going to hold that out in front of us and we're just going to walk out so we can get into this nice bridge position. Okay, so we want to try and have between our sort of thighs and our sort of our lower body, our sort of calves there. We want to get our legs into a nice 90-degree position. Okay, we want to sort of make sure we don't let our lower body sag. We want to push that pelvis up and get into a nice bridge. Okay, so we want to make sure we stabilize the dumbbell in our left or right hand, it doesn't really matter. And again, we lock in the core. Then we're just going to do a single arm dumbbell press from that position. Okay, really trying to avoid any excess movement within the Swiss ball. Okay, so 8 to 10 either side. And again, be careful when you swap this one. Probably the best way to swap that one is getting back down into the reset. Okay, I've done this for a number of years, but push that belt buckle up to the other side. And then back in. So 8 to 10 reps and then reset. So you can see much more than just a chest press. We've got the ability for us to get the stability from the single arm position. We're engaging the core, we're engaging the glutes, and we're also getting the sort of, the pec development from the press itself. So a really, really good variant on the bench press, making it single arm and on the Swiss ball to just challenge the core that little bit more. Okay guys, exercise number 4. So we're keeping the Swiss ball out and we're going to just drop to a lighter weight. So I had some 35-pound weights there just doing the single arm press. We're dropped down to 15 pounds for this Swiss ball Russian twist. So we're going to take the seated position again on the Swiss ball. Okay, just get ourselves comfortable with the dumbbell out in front of us. And again, we're going to walk ourselves out into that same position that we were doing the single arm chest press on. So let's walk on out to there. Get nice and stable. So we've got the kind of base of our neck resting on the Swiss ball here. We've got the pelvis pushed up, so you've got that sort of nice, solid, engaged core. Okay, so this time we're going to put both arms on the dumbbell. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate from side to side. Now, ideally, we're going to try to get as little rotation as we can in this sort of belt buckle area. We don't want to twist too much there. Okay, and obviously those of you who have back injuries, lower back injuries, be very careful when doing these types of exercises. So from this position, we're going to rotate to the left, then back to the right. And we're going to do it in a nice controlled fashion. You really have to remind yourself at times to engage in that core. Again, one that really actually starts to feel really nice for me if I've got a feeling of having a sort of bit of a tighter back. Once you start to do that, it actually starts to feel like your back loosens up a little bit as you do these rotations. So Swiss ball Russian twist, keep the weights light. Be very careful if you have a bad back. If you've had any injuries, anything like that, maybe avoid this one or check out if your doctor is okay with you doing this one, your chiropractor. but a really, really good one for getting some more range of motion and so again, stabilizing in that core. All right, guys, exercise number 5, you should start to be feeling it by now. Obviously, we've done some lower body stuff. We've done some upper body stuff now, and we're going to finish it off with some, actually 2 to go, but this is one of the finishers I love to do. So as we get into the latter part of our workout, I think we start to be a bit more specific about smaller muscle groups that we want to focus on that specific day. So farmer's walk is, for me, for every golfer, is a mandatory exercise. Anytime you can work on, grip strength, forearm strength, there's a bit of cardio element to it as well, that you're sort of, walking with a significant amount of extra weight with you. I think that's a really, really good exercise for any golfer. So I think go heavy on these. You can certainly grab at some extra weight, whatever you're comfortable with. And we're literally just going to get into a nice position there. Squat down. Okay, we use our legs to pick up any heavier weights. Really important, guys, when we're using heavier weights, how we lift them is absolutely huge. So using our sort of legs to pick these up and not picking them up from our waist or with our back. Don't want to get anyone injured. So ideally with this one, I like around 15, 16 steps. So if we're in a smaller environment like this, I'm going to do 8 steps away and then 8 steps back with the sort of heavier dumbbells in hand. So we're just going to walk it out. Turn around. Okay, so that's 1 set. Okay, guys, absolutely crucial to get the farmer's walk into your routine. I think even doing this a couple of times a week would not certainly be too much. We've got some smaller muscles here, and it's not like we're certainly working them to failure like we would if we were doing bicep curl or something like that. You can just make sure you get a nice strong hold. I love hanging from a bar. Anything like where you're testing that grip strength, making sure that you're working all those tiny, intricate little muscles. I really love to use the sort of digital dynamometers when it comes to sort of measuring grip strength. We know the correlation between how far someone hits it and how strong their sort of grip strength is. The highest grip strength in any golfer is on the long drive circuits. We see significant correlations between that. Even the tour players, the tour player versus the average male golfer who golfs, there is such a gulf in grip strength. It's one of those really sort of hidden secrets when it comes to which part of your body do you want to be strong if you want to be a good golfer. Hand strength, grip strength, forearm strength, super important. The farmer's walk is the best way to do it. Okay, guys, so we're over at the cable machine. I'm a huge fan of a cable machine. I literally will not, when I'm traveling, book into a hotel if it doesn't have one of these things. Because I know that obviously when we're limited for space, there's only so much that you're going to get in a gym on the road. And if we've got sort of a cable machine, adjustable pulley like this, we're going to pretty much be able to do just about everything. And one of the golf exercises that I do all the time, all year round, is the Woodchop. It's one of the ones dating back to the Czech biomechanic program that was a huge hallmark of that program. And it still is for me today. So with the pulley, add a moderate amount of resistance. I've got this on about 25 pounds, not too heavy at all. And we're going to push the pulley all the way to the top. We're going to use the single handle. Okay, so we're going to reach with our trail side, and we're going to come over the top of that with the lead arm, okay? So we're going to get into a nice wide base. I'm going to step out a little bit so we've got a little bit of resistance on the cable. So we're going to actually turn towards the cable machine a little bit more, okay? So we keep that tension on there, and then we're going to rotate down towards our left hip. Okay, so we're down in that position right there. So in our Woodchop position now, a really golf-specific position where you can actually start to imagine your golf swing while you're doing it. So I really like to feel like the sort of trail arm stays under the lead arm when we're doing this one. So I don't like to feel like I'm going the over-the-top move. I think if we're talking golf-specific terms here, we want to make sure that we're rotating and we're keeping that down towards the left hip. I don't want to see that right shoulder coming out. So if we reverse that and go the other way, again, we stretch over with the trail side, get some tension on the cable, and then we rotate down. So again, all of these exercises in this routine that we're showing you today, in that 8 to 10 rep range, this one definitely 10 reps for sure. It's not going to be a hugely depleting exercise, kind of like the squats and deadlifts that we do. Those are much, much more difficult because we're using these bigger muscles that require so much more oxygen to travel around the body. That's what kind of gets the heart rate going, gets the heart rate raised. You're going to find these exercises a little bit easier to do. So let's keep that rep rate a little bit higher because of that. But again, very goal specific. You know, we're still working in that core section. So everything we're doing is compounding, right? It's stacking the gains on top of one another. So whether you're lower body, there's always a component where we're trying to stabilize you. It's one of the reasons I love kettlebells. I love doing Swiss ball dumbbell work. There's always a component where we really, you know, you could be unstable, but we're going to do our core we're going to engage in our core. We're going to breathe and expand all that air out and then hold ourselves in that nice tight position. And then we're going to perform the exercise from there. So really, really important stuff, guys, and a great way to build the base of the strength of your golf swing. Okay, guys, hope you've enjoyed this session here with us at the TPC Toronto gym. Really great to run through a full workout with you guys. This is a little bit more of what you would obviously find in your sort of main gym that you use. A little bit more equipment involved in this one. Now, we're trying to not make it too intensive that you need all the latest and greatest equipment. We're using Swiss balls and kettlebells, a couple of dumbbells. Really, if you wanted to do this from home, you absolutely could. Even the Woodchop that we were just doing over there, you know, you can get resistance bands and hook them into doors and have enough tension that you could do that. So modify where needed because I think it will really pay off, as I say. But if you do have access to an incredible gym, I'm hugely thankful to the guys here at TPC Toronto to let us use this facility here today. A couple months away from the Canadian Open, where I just know all the players will be in here working out, getting ready for their sessions before they play, ready for their tee time. So absolute privilege to be up here today. I really hope these videos are helping you guys. Let us know in the comments below. Are you able to implement them? Are they helping? Any questions on the modifications? I'm by no means proclaiming to be some kind of, you know, strength and conditioning expert, but I've been hugely fortunate to work with people who are some of the best in the game. So I've picked up a lot of knowledge from them over the years, and I definitely think there's some things that we can do to help you guys. I will be inviting some guests onto the channel, like Carl Weston. Great friend of mine, Ryan Gregno, will be coming on the channel, and we'll be doing more in the way of fitness and strength as it relates to golf. But I think this video, along with the resistance band video, is a great way for us to start this series. So hope you guys are enjoying it. Let us know in the comments. If you like the video, please like this and certainly subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the ride with the following videos as they come. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.